Today we're going to talk about tips for beginner travelers who know that they want to travel to somewhere on the other side of the world. They know that that means a long haul flight, but they're scared to death of what do you do when it comes to prepping and getting ready for a long flight. So when I say long, I'm thinking about any flight that is, let's say, around 10 hours or more. So think to yourself, you are going from Florida to Australia, or you're going from New Jersey to India. Those are some of the ones that I want you to think about. Today, we're going to give you all the tips you need so that you can set yourself up for success on that long haul flight. All right, let's go. So the first tip and the thing to keep in mind is make sure that when you are prepping, you make sure to get yourself at minimum 8 hours of entertainment. And so you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how do I do that, Kelly, right? So the way to do that is you get yourself a streaming account, you download things ahead of time onto your device, and you make sure you have them ready to go so that you'll be okay. That's your first tip. Make sure you've got entertainment. The second thing you can do from an entertainment standpoint is make sure that you have games on your phone, right? So your phone, your tablet, load those up with lots of games. Make sure you've got those because you're going to need them because boredom will set in. The other thing you can do from an entertainment standpoint is bring not one, but 2 books with you. Yes, physical books. When your devices die, you'll be glad that you did. So make sure you've got yourself some physical books in hand. I know it may seem a little old school. I still like physical books, but I know a lot of people, go with the Kindles and stuff like that. Make sure you've got yourself some of those. The next thing you need to think about, and I just mentioned it, is you need to think about what am I going to do to make sure that these devices stay charged. And why do I say this? So you need to make sure you carry some sort of a charger that can charge your device at minimum 3 times. Why 3? Because that's enough for you to kind of mix it with your hard copy books, your other things, some sleep, all of those things to keep you entertained. So make sure that you get that for yourself, because you'll thank yourself if you end up having to sit in a seat or a row on the plane where maybe the power cord isn't working. You will be really happy you did. I've had that happen before on one of my 18-hour flights, and everybody was really, really bummed that we didn't have our electricity. So make sure you walk with some sort of a power bank for yourself so that you can charge your devices. All right, so now that we've talked about entertainment, the other thing that we need to cover is we need to make sure that we're taking care of you, the person. So first things first, you need to get yourself some sort of a neck pillow. You're gonna need to sleep, and you wanna be comfortable when you do that. And the chairs in the plane probably aren't gonna do the trick. One thing to always remember is that even in economy, you can usually pull back the 2 sides around your head to cuddle your head just a little bit for the long journey. However, you're gonna need more than that. And so what I would say is make sure that you've got yourself a pillow. There's all kinds of different pillows. My favorite is the turtle pillow. It's not sponsored. I just love their product and I think it's super comfortable, but there's all kinds of great ones out there that don't take a lot of space. There's ones you can air up. There's all kinds of options for you. So make sure that you've got yourself a very comfortable pillow because you're gonna need that. The other thing that you need to do is make sure that you get yourself some decanters for the things and the products that you love for your hygiene. So on a long haul flight, it's natural, right? You're going to have to use the bathroom. Well, every time you use the bathroom, you can use that as a freshening opportunity. So walk with a little deodorant, walk with a little bit of very lightly scented aroma, so some sort of a perfume, cologne, but just make sure it's not super heavy because you don't want to offend the people that you're sitting next to naturally. And so make sure you do that, right? Make sure you've got something to make sure you can be fresh. You always want to make make sure you've got wet wipes of some sort. So for guys, sometimes that's some sort of a dude wipe or something like that. If it's a dude wipe, you can go with that. It may be another brand. Some people use baby wipes. That's another really easy thing. For women, there's all kinds of different, like, summer's eve wipes, all kinds of stuff that you can use to get the job done. So pick one of those and you'll be pretty happy that you did, because you'll be able to use those to freshen as you go along. And if you don't have any of those, you'll be okay. Here's what you have to do. You just simply go and get your Charmin wipes, your regular Charmin unscented wipes, and anybody can use those. Guy, girl, anyone, you'll be set. So make sure you get those as well. Okay, now let's talk about the things that you can do before you jump on the plane to set yourself up. So things that you can do when you're buying your ticket way before are: make sure you do a little research on the plane. There are plenty of online websites where you can look up specifically which seats are better in the plane. So you probably have a bit of a choice, right? And that choice can lead to your comfort. So sometimes what you'll find is the seats that may be like right next to the restrooms, those may be like always the smallest seats in the plane. So if it is, make sure that you are picking a seat that you're comfortable with, right? If you're a super tall person and you need that extra leg room, this is your time to go ahead and upgrade your ticket. Make sure that you're taking care of that stuff so that you'll be happy at the end of it, right? So there's a lot of things you can do in terms of your seat choices. Do you prefer a window seat? This is that time where you should upgrade the seat, right? You'll be happier. Are you claustrophobic, right? If you've got an 18-hour flight, like my flight to India from Newark, you want to make sure, right, that you've got that window seat if it's something that'll make you happy and bring you joy, right? Are you somebody that feels like you're constantly hating to ask to go to the restroom, right? Well, make sure you check out the configuration of the plane and get yourself one of those aisle seats, right? It's also important to understand on flights like that, are you going to, be sitting in one of the configurations where it's 3-3-3? Are you going to be sitting in something where it's 3-5-3? Are you going to be sitting in something where it's 2-7 across in the center and then 2 on the other side? It's important to know a little bit about the plane, right? So do a little research, find out more about the plane, and that will lead into you being able to select a place for yourself where you should sit to make sure that you make your experience just the best that it can be. So don't forget that. Super, super important. It's totally worth the money. I know sometimes I tell you guys, something's not worth the money, but in this case, it totally is. So make sure you do that for yourself so that you'll be a happy camper. Another thing you can do beforehand is when you've done a really long haul flight, sometimes the first thing you want to do is go to your hotel, take a shower, and just get fresh, right? So be aware of the time that you're landing, and sometimes you will find that it is worth it to pay for the night before stay of the hotel so that you can get there and check into a hotel room without having to wait until the typical time of, 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. for you to be able to check in. What that means is, yes, you'll have to pay for that one night extra in the hotel. The other thing that's really important is you need to make sure that you send an email to your hotel ahead of time or call them, whichever one makes you more comfortable. Call or send an email and let them know that you are going to be arriving late. Why is that important? Because a lot of hotels have a rule that if you don't check in, let's say check-in starts at 3, they may have a rule that if you don't check in by 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., they will assume that you've given up your entire reservation, right? And obviously you don't want to get there and your entire reservation is canceled. That would be just a travesty, especially if they gave you a super special room, right, to someone else. So it's super important to make sure that you plan for things like that, because some of those things can add to your feeling, right? So if you've traveled, for example, I've done like 36 hours of travel, right? Not all in one flight, but the largest flight was like 15 hours or something like that. But I did like 36 hours of travel to get to Australia, for example. Well, at the end of it, it's 9 a.m. in Australia, right? And I get that, I could wait until 3 p.m., but I just didn't feel like it, right? I wanted to be able to go brush my teeth in a normal room and, lay on a bed, which I hadn't gotten to do in a day and a half, just little things like that. And so I know for myself, it makes such a difference, right? Because you don't feel like you have to force yourself to stay up. Nobody wants to stay up for 48 hours. So sometimes those are some of the things you can do ahead of time to prep so that when you get there, you'll be a lot more comfortable and a lot more happy, right, with your whole journey. So make sure you try that as well too. If you feel like it'll be daunting, I guarantee you can do it. You will be able to do it just like so many others have and do all the time. You just have to put the prep into the long haul flight. And once you're on there, the time will fly by. So highly recommend that, and that'll help your next long haul flight. Some other ways that you can help yourself while you're on the plane is be friendly, right? You've got neighbors, there are people who are sitting near you. You guys are gonna spend a decent portion of your time together for the next, 10, 15, 18 hours. Be polite, right? Find out a little bit about them. Ask their name, share your names, share some simple things like where you're from, why you're both headed to the exact same place. Are they from there? Can they share any tips with you of things that you should do? Have they been there before? Can they share tips with you from their past travels of what you should and shouldn't do? These are some of the things that you can share with others that you're sitting right next to. Make sure you exchange just some basic information, right? What do they do for work? These are things that you'll probably enjoy hearing about, and they help to pass the time. And then also, if you're not in first class where they'll wake you up, make sure you let them know your preference. Like, hey, if the food comes by, please make sure to tap me on my shoulder, right? You guys can look out for each other for the duration of the flight, and that's always a lot of fun too. They'll let you know the same, and you can return the favor. So those are some things you can do as well. Another thing you can do is that most people forget / don't realize that on long haul flights, the flight attendants usually set up a little station. So it's like a snack and water station typically. Sometimes it'll have wine and juice as well. And what you can do is you can go help yourself. It's set up so that you can help yourself. It's usually in one of the galleys on the plane. Sometimes it's in the center. Sometimes it's in the back, the front, and the center. It just depends. But go ahead and check that stuff out, right? Sometimes you just need to get up and stretch your legs. And speaking of stretching your legs, at some point, I would say maybe at least every 4 to 5 hours at minimum, you can do it more frequently, but I would say at minimum, go ahead and get up and stretch your legs, right? Walk in a circle on the plane, right? Why? Because it just helps you to shake your legs out, shake your arms out, get a little walk in. It never hurts, and you will feel better after you've done it. Sometimes a little exercise helps to boost the mood and boost our energy levels. And I do it all the time. I see many others doing it, especially if you have kids. I see people with kids doing it so that they give the kids just a bit of a break, a little bit of a walk. So these are some things you can do as well that will greatly help your experience on your next long haul flight. So now you're ready to go take that long haul flight. So I hope the next time you see or you're thinking of that place that you want to go visit, you don't go, oh no, I can't do that because that flight's too far away. Now you know what to do. You've got this video. You can come back and reference it. And if you know somebody who's interested, or you yourself is interested in doing more travel alone, make sure you hit up the link in the description and get my How to Travel Alone ebook for free. It's a free ebook. You can download it. Make sure you do that. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Thanks so much. Bye.